Good afternoon, guys. Mr. Pointer. Today we're going to be talking about the life cycle in science. Now, if you pay attention to as we're going over this lesson, all of the questions that will be in Google Classroom you can get directly from this lesson. So it's very important that you pay attention. All right, now we're going to first talk about the four stages that make up the life cycle of all living things. And the first stage is birth. Birth is the first stage in the life cycle. The second stage is growth. The third stage is reproduction. And the fourth stage is death. Go ahead and copy down those four stages. You will need them later. Birth, growth, reproduction, and death. Now, birth is when something's born or when it's finally created. Growth is as it grows up, it becomes an adult. Reproduction is when it creates more offspring. And of course, death is when it no longer ceases to be alive anymore. So our first question for today. It says a cold front occurs, causing temperatures to drop down to 39 degrees. Monarch butterflies need a temperature of 41 degrees to crawl and 55 degrees to fly. What do you think would happen to the butterflies if it's now 39 degrees? Now remember, they need 41 degrees to crawl and 55 degrees to fly. I want you guys to write down now, what do you think would happen to the butterflies? Yes, the monarch butterflies will die because it is too cold. They need a temperature of at least 41 and then 55. So if it drops to 39, the butterflies will no longer exist. Our next question. More and more pollinators are going extinct. Milkweed flowers do not get visited by pollinators. Predict what will happen to the milkweed plant and the monarch butterflies in the area. So if the milkweed plant cannot produce flowers and the monarch butterflies eat those flowers, what would happen to the monarch butterflies? Think about that. The monarch butterflies would have two options. They would either need to move to another area or they would die. Why? Because they would have no food to eat. All right, last question. While beans are growing on the plant, a deer comes into the garden and eats the beans, pods, and all. Predict what will happen to the bean plant. So a bean is growing on a plant, a deer comes into the garden and eats the beans, the pods, and all. What will happen to the bean plant? The bean plant will die without fruit in the garden. However, more bean plants might grow somewhere else because the deer spreads the seeds. Now, we talked about that before in class. How do you think the deer would spread the seed? He ate the plant. How would he spread the seed? That's one of the questions I'm going to be asking you in the classroom. if a deer eats a plant and it's in his stomach now, how would he spread the seed to another area?